Welcome to the Risers Hub, your go-to podcast for personal growth and self-discovery. I'm Nicole Hodges, your host and coach, and I'm thrilled to be your companion on this transformative journey. In this safe space, we'll explore the nuances of becoming the best version of yourself. Whether you're seeking mental clarity, physical fitness, or a holistic life transformation, the Risers Hub is here to provide insights, guidance, and a touch of humor along the way. I authored Time to Rise, Get Fit, and Stay There, and my mission is simple: to help you unlock your true potential. No gimmicks, just practical wisdom, suggestions, and encouragement tailored to your unique path. So grab your favorite earplugs, beverage, munchies, and find a comfortable spot and join me on this adventure of self-discovery. This is the Risers Hub, where personal growth meets practicality and possibly a new you. Let's navigate this journey together, because I'm not perfect either. Let's go. Hey, it's your girl Nicole, and you're listening to the Risers Hub. Before we jump into this week's episode on what motivates you, I want to give a shout out to Black History Month. This February, the shortest month of the year, I would like to encourage you to explore and appreciate the richness of Black culture, and please don't confine your appreciation to just one month, but let the amazement of Black history bleed into the fabric of the entire year, embracing and respecting the values carried by Black Americans. Today, I'm celebrating Nikki Giovanni. Giovanni was a revolutionary poet and writer from the Civil Rights Movement. Her poetry is a source of motivation, empowerment, love, humor, brilliance, and education. Reading her work stimulates my creativity, imagination, and my love for poetry. She was a voice for Black culture during a time when women, particularly Black women, were not respected as writers and/or artists. Here's a quote I want to share that's a great segue into our topic about motivation. Giovanni writes, "I really don't think life is about the I could have beens. Life is only about I tried to do. I don't mind the failure, but I can't imagine that I'd forgive myself if I didn't try." Giovanni reminds us that life is not about dwelling on what could have been. It's about the sincere effort we put forth. Embrace the process and don't be afraid of failure. If you get up every day and try, you've already won. Like I've said in previous podcasts, we have the opportunity to try again and again. If we didn't meet our goal for that day, we can get up the next day and try again. Also, my friends, my beautiful friends, have chimed in on what motivates them to push through each and every day. They are people just like you and I. They've all had ups and downs, but one thing I know about each of them, they are very self-motivating. It took time and effort to get there, but they are highly motivated people, and that's why they are in my life. So grab your cup of coffee or tea, turn up the volume, and let's talk about motivation. Okay, before we get started, I am really, really happy that you're here. And I really appreciate the time that you're taking to listen to this voice and hopefully take something positive away from this podcast. I know that your time is valuable. You could be doing anything else other than listening to this. So I do appreciate the fact that you're here. So I'd like to welcome you to the Risers Hub podcast. It is your girl, Nicole. And today we're going to be talking about what motivates you. How do you turn lemons into lemonade? This is not Beyonce's lemonade. This is your. Okay, so in today's episode, we run into the powerful concept of self-motivation and how it plays a key role in rising to achieve your goals. Yes, every pun intended. Anyway, before we get started, I'd like to share what motivates me. My motivation has changed over the years because my life has changed over the years. But for now, what motivates me is building a life with peace and happiness. My curiosity about life and people and culture and art, that's what gets me out of the bed every single day. Now, am I truly motivated like that every single day? Oh, no, I'm not. There are days I'd rather just stay in bed, sit around, and do absolutely nothing. Those days actually happen. but they are far and few between. And I thank God that they are because I love living life. And guess what? This podcast motivates me. This podcast is really an extension of who I am because I believe that I can help someone out there, someone who's looking to better themselves in one way or another. If I can encourage one or two people to live their best life, I'm motivated to help the next two or three people because I truly love talking about goals, listening to what makes people happy, and I love hearing other people's dreams and ideas of what's coming around the corner for them because they put in all the hard work. Okay, so let me tell you what motivation is not. And when I'm telling you this, I'm also telling myself this, and you'll see why in a minute. Motivation is not writing an inspirational quote on a piece of paper and then sitting there waiting for a miracle to happen. Let that sit for a minute. Motivation is action. It's heart pounding, it's moving, it's putting one foot in front of the other and surprising yourself every single time. That's how I see motivation. It's taking every single lemon that's thrown your way, squeezing the crap out of it, and making the best darn lemonade you've ever had. That's what motivation is. That's the podcast. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. So, what motivates you and gets you going?
So, what motivates me to keep pushing forward? Well, I believe is the ability of learning new things, what capabilities I have to to what extent. But mostly, I think it's helping others. Whatever I show that I'm able to do, and I don't think that it's enough for me, but I'm pretty sure that it's motivating other people, and that's what keep pushing me to do other things and keep pushing at doing it, get out of my comfort zone.
Okay, so let's break down motivation and then talk about the importance of self motivation. There are two types of motivation there is intrinsic, and then there is extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic is doing something that you like to do. You like the feeling of accomplishment when you're doing it. There's a sense of purpose, passion, or enjoyment. And then there's that extrinsic motivation. It's doing something to get a reward or even a punishment. Or you might be pressured by outside forces. So, for example, you get up and go to work every day to earn a paycheck. You study really hard because you want a good grade. You volunteer in your community because it looks good on your resume.
What's my motivation? Well, I guess my motivation is more eccentric because it's me that gets me going in the morning. It's my desire, my wish to be better than I was yesterday. It's my willingness to do whatever it takes to protect my mental and my physical well being. It's my wish, my desire to break those generational curses that plagued a lot of us, be it physical, be it mental, be it sickness.
Okay, self motivation, the inner drive that pushes you to take action, is so important. And let me tell you why. No one, and I mean no one, is going to come knocking on your front door and tell you, "Hey, how you doing? Here's a slice of self-motivation. Now go out there and conquer the world." No one. Self-motivation is action. It's a muscle that we need to build so we can push forward, meet our goals, and live a good life. I was that girl who wrote inspiring words, phrases, and quotes on pieces of paper. And I would actually wait for a miracle to happen because in my head, I was putting it out in the universe. But guess what? Nothing happened. And you want to know why? There was no action behind it. Now, let me make something clear. I still believe that writing positive words and affirmations down is a form of action. Just like praying is a powerful form of action, but you still have to put in the work.
What keeps me pushing forward, I think that is definitely always knowing my why. For me personally, my why is to glorify God. So if it's working out, we know that your body's a temple. So you got to show up, right? You got to be healthy inside out. And I do that to glorify God. When it comes to my job, I show up to be a light to glorify God. And when it comes to being a wife, I show up and honor my commitment to not only my husband, but to the Lord to glorify. So I think it's always when you know your why, because we're always going to have distractions, right? But when you can stay focused on your why and keep that at the forefront of your mind, I think that that always helps you to push forward and to stay focused. And I think also when you're pursuing that why, it'll multiply and it will turn into something so much greater than the small vision or the small thing that you had from the start.
Last summer, I read the book The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. I'm sure you've heard of the book, and I have to say, I love that little book. It helped to put a few things in perspective, but there was one quote in the book that really took my breath away. It was a little sentence, and it read, God is life in action. Ugh, I still get excited about that quote. What I took from that quote is that living your best life is taking action. When you decide you want something out of life and you can't see yourself without it, self motivation kicks in. The ideas start to form. There's a drive inside of you to start moving forward. When you take action, you start to move in that direction. And that's when the universe and that's when God starts working for you. And whatever it is, if it's for you, your goals will be met.
All right. So I think the first question I ask myself if I need motivation or if I need something to get me moving is my why or what's my purpose. Not to be cheesy, but I think of the Beyonce song Bigger. And often I think about the bigger picture of like an action, whether that means someone's counting on me, or that's my family, my friends, my dog, myself, or if there is the world is waiting for me to show up. So if I'm sharing my art, sharing my voice, there's always a bigger picture at play, and sometimes I use that to help me motivate me to do something. And the other thing I think about is my purpose. So I've discovered that my purpose can be broken out into three things. It's growth, learning, and joy. If I am doing one of those things, if I am joyous or I'm giving other person joy, if I am growing or I'm seeing other folks grow, or if I'm learning something new, such as reading a book or going to a museum, that fills me up, that fills my cup, and that motivates me to keep going. So whenever I'm doing a task, it should hit one, two, or three of those things. And that's how I know I'm aligned. That keeps me motivated to keep going.
Okay, so of course, there's a science behind motivation and self motivation. And I did a whole lot of reading on all of this, and I'm going to keep it really simple for the purpose of the podcast and the purpose of our sanity. Okay. And I want you to take away what you need to take away from what I'm about to share with you. Okay. So, first of all, there is a known theory about motivation, and it's called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The idea is that people are first motivated by fulfilling their basic needs of food, water, and shelter. Now, that's true, okay? But then there's all these other levels a person has to achieve before they come to self actualization or self awareness. But according to Harvard Business Review, self actualization can happen at any time. And I have to believe that theory because I've seen people, man, be in the craziest circumstances and somehow achieve amazing things. I've seen people go through life's crap, and for an average person, they would be totally broken down, but somehow they achieve those goals. So what I did is I took what Harvard Business Review broke down into three essential needs, and I kind of like redid them for us to follow, okay? So the first one is people need to feel like they have choices and that they're not pressured into what they want. Freedom to make a choice in life and go after it. Okay. You have the freedom to live your own life, make choices that make you extremely happy, and create a life that will satisfy your needs first. Number 2, human beings need to feel like they are cared for and cared by others to feel connected. Hands down. Community is important. A safe community to be your authentic self and not feel like you have to conform to someone else's needs. Find your safe space of people. Find your safe community. Make sure the people who are in this community want to see you thrive, succeed, and be truly happy. Number 3, people need to feel effective at meeting everyday challenges and feel a sense of growth. Create goals that are specific to you. Start small and take care of those small achievements first. Add on to those small achievements where it makes sense and continue to go after what you want. Now, what's happening when you're motivated? Now, this is all the scientific stuff that I'm going to keep real simple, okay? I'm no doctor. The motivator hormone dopamine is released. It's a type of neurotransmitter and it plays a role in many important functions, including movement, memory, sleep, learning, and pleasure. It's what they call a happy hormone. Dopamine travels through the brain with different dopamine receptors, and these receptors have specific functions throughout the body. Dopamine is the happy hormone, and when it's released, I want to believe that good things are happening. Now, what is the nemesis of self motivation? You know what it is. It's procrastination and self doubt, and we all do it. Be aware that you are procrastinating and just get up and move. That's what I'm going to tell you to do, even when you don't want to do it. Think about how you will feel once you've achieved your goal. Then there is our favorite enemy, self doubt. Self doubt is common in a lot of us. I know I'm guilty of it. So that's when you need to become aware of your self doubt. Go to your safe person or community, let them know about your concerns, and then let them kick you back into reality that you're freaking awesome and you're capable of getting stuff done. Now, I do practice what I preach, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have self doubt all the time, mainly because I struggle with how I was brought up and the beliefs that were imposed on me. They're not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I don't always agree with those ideas or values. So self doubt rears its ugly head. That's when I go and I talk to my safe person. I hear a different perspective, and then I start to create my own path without the guilt or shame that come with it. So let me give you an example. Moving to the East Coast from the West Coast, there was a lot of self doubt because the last 3 years I was in San Diego, I found a great group of people who became my friends, and now I call them my family. But in reality, I was so bored of San Diego. And to be honest, a lot of my past still lived there. And so I wanted to create my own life, a life that I created, that I could feel proud of. I've always wanted to live on the East Coast since I was a little girl, but I didn't have the support to get there. There was a lot of guilt and shame in wanting to be this East Coast designer, whatever that meant at the time. But I'm here. I'm trying. I leap out of my bed every day because it's all new and exciting, and I can do what makes me happy without the guilt and shame of being that little Midwest girl who didn't know anything about life and how to navigate through it.
What gets me motivated and going and waking me up for another day, honestly, is having a purpose and understanding that purpose and calling. And basically, that purpose is to serve others and to provide hope to others. And that can be in my work as a counselor, that can be as a mom, a wife, a coach, a sister, a friend, and even as an ambassador and a run leader. All those positions that I'm in are part of my purpose in life. And so it's motivating and encouraging to wake up every day knowing my purpose, moving forward, and serving my time on this earth, knowing that, this is only temporary and there's so much more after this life. And so, yeah, that's what gets me going is my purpose. And that purpose is serving others.
Okay, so let's talk about setting and achieving goals and how they affect self motivation. Now, I can't emphasize this enough. Setting smart goals is extremely important when it comes to self motivation. They need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and they need a timestamp on it. These are important because you need to set yourself up for success. Next, visualization. Visualization is a great way to boost self motivation. Now, this is an area that I personally struggle in. I have an idea and I get really excited about it. I start to visualize what that idea would look like, but then I get scared and the visual literally melts away. So now what I do is I stop, I slow down, and I make myself allow the visual to play itself out, all the way out. And then I hang on to that visual that I have in my head when I'm practicing self motivation. Because once I let it play out, I see what the ending looks like and I like that ending. So I start striving to get that end result. Dream a little bit and then get to the end result with that visualization so you have something to strive for. Okay, so I want to kind of wrap things up a little bit and talk about cultivating a motivational mindset. Always work on keeping a positive mindset. This is something that you literally have to practice every single day, every single hour, and every single minute. I know life is challenging. I know people are challenging. I know situations are challenging. Hey, when you stubbed your toe on the bed this morning, that was challenging. It hurt. You wanted to curse somebody out, but you were still able to walk to the bathroom, right? Yeah, you were. So you're okay. You can still get out there and conquer your day. Remember to always be grateful, no matter where you are. If you're moving and working and navigating through the world and you're moving towards your goals, be grateful that you can do just that. Be grateful that you have created a positive mindset and that you can control what's going on in your head. Do not let something or someone have the power to control how you think about yourself. You are amazing. You are strong. You are a badass, okay? You can get out there and you can do it. It is so important to have a motivating group of people around you. I've said this early in this podcast. Get out there. Find your social support that you need. I'll be honest with you. I've been here for 11 months on the East Coast, and I know who my safe people are. I know whatever space I decide to fill, it's going to be supportive for me. It's going to be externally motivating for me. Also, not every space is about immersing yourself in that space. If just being around other people helps feed your soul, then do that. When you get to the level of self awareness and motivation, it's amazing because you're just happy no matter where you are. If you can't find these spaces, I'm going to challenge you to create your own space. Invite others into your space. Those who come and love what you've created should be there. Those who do not come, you do not need them in your space. Let that sit for a minute. If you have created a space and you invited people to come into that space, the people who come to that space and respect that space and love that space deserve to be there. Those who do not come, or they have come and disrespected your space, do not deserve to be there. We get so caught up on who likes us and who doesn't like us, who was there, who wasn't there. If they don't come, let it go. They were not meant to be there. All right, so let's summarize key takeaways from this episode. Number 1, self-motivation is a drive from within. Number 2, self-motivation can either be internal or external. Number 3, Self-motivation will have its challenges, but you can overcome them. Number 4, self-motivation always goes back to making sure your goals are smart goals. Set yourself up for success. And number 5, self-motivation is yours. That's why the word self is in front of the word motivation. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Remember, there are resource pages you can download on my website at risershub.com. And also stay tuned for upcoming episodes. I will be talking to some amazing guests on nutrition and body image. Until next time, keep rising. It's your girl, Nicole, and you're listening to The Risers Hub. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. Remember, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so it is crucial to consult your physician, psychotherapist, or qualified health professional for personalized advice. Hey, also, if you're enjoying this podcast, I would like to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share. At least that's what they told me to say at the end of this podcast. Can you hook me up? Thanks. Bye. Rising Hearts is an Indigenous-led organization elevating Indigenous voices and fosters intersectional growth through organizing and programming. Starting March 2nd through the 10th, Rising Hearts will have their 4th annual Running on Native Lands virtual or in-person event. It's a great way to connect with your community, learn more about native lands, and connect with the land that surrounds you. For more information and to sign up, go to elitefeats.com, click on upcoming events, or search for Rising Hearts. It will pop right up. Sign up to make a difference in your community by connecting with the land. To learn more, follow Rising Hearts on Instagram or check out their website at risinghearts.org.